CRN. Chuck Wilder here. Let me tell you about my guest, Kimberly Dvorak, award-winning national security, border security investigative reporter for TV, radio, and the print media. By the way, Kimberly is the senior foreign policy advisor for the Committee for Responsible Foreign Policy. She's a TV correspondent for CW6 News San Diego, as well as One American News Network, and her website is the KD Report. Hello, Kimberly. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine. How about yourself, Chuck?
Pretty good, pretty good. My earphones or something are breaking up at times, so just kind of bear with me.
Okay.
President Trump, former greatest president of the United States, has now been banned for 2 years on Facebook. No, it has nothing to do with the election, the upcoming election. It's just the timing on it, I guess. Won't keep him from doing political speeches on Facebook.
Yeah.
Boy, but your interesting report. Let's say I'm in Mexico and I want to sneak across the border. Could I get any help if I was a subscriber or a watcher on Facebook, maybe finding a way to get across the border illegally?
Yeah, this report kind of comes out, and it was a newly minted congresswoman from Florida, Kat Kamak, and she actually took all of these posts that she found on Facebook that the human smugglers, aka the drug cartels, are using to lure these, people from these poor and impoverished and war-torn countries, I would say, because they're, it's gang warfare, it's cartel warfare, and they're using Facebook, and they are advertising, anywhere from 4,500 to get across to 8,000. If you're from a foreign country, it'll cost you maybe upwards of 25,000. If you're a terrorist, from a terrorist country, you're going to pay somewhere around 40,000 to get yourself across the border. But they're using this on Facebook, and there were several different posts that this congresswoman actually alerted Facebook to, and as of this weekend, those posts are still up and running. And it's horrific. It says here, I offer my foot crossing through Mexico and the borderline. Only people truly interested send a message to my inbox. Things like that they're traveling on God's graces here. People, you have a chance here to get into the U.S. The border is 100% safe. Don't waste your time anymore. I'll get you there directly to your destination. And here we go again from Facebook. So there's a myriad of these posts that, I printed them out so you can kind of see it if you're watching. But it's very sad that, that Facebook can take it, amongst themselves and ban a former president of the United States for 2 years, but the cartels, in essence, are making billions of dollars, and they're paying for advertising. So they're giving Facebook money. It's not even just posting on social networks. They're actually paying for advertisements. So Facebook is taking their money, and they are not answering the questions that this congresswoman brought to light, and she said that she will remain on this until they get more answers. But this is, another sign that, that Facebook, doesn't really harbor any kind of non-bias here, that they're outwardly biased against anybody on the right.
And so, as you say, this was originally discovered, I guess, by Representative Kat, K-A-T, Kamak, C-A-M-M-A-C-K. She's Republican in Florida. Mm-hmm. And they're not hiding it.
No.
That's pretty. Good morning. I offer safe crossing. Hey, we've got crossings through the Lomas de Arena, Chihuahua. We offer camouflage backpack with food.
Yeah.
Wow. Send a message to my inbox or call me, and then they give another number, and ready for adventure in the name of God.
Yes, sir. God works in mysterious ways, apparently.
The American dream. Cross the border. 100% safe by city. Don't waste your time through foot crossing overnight. I'll get you directly to your destination. And then WhatsApp. as I understand, and when we come back after the break, Kimberly,
Yeah.
this app, it's sort of like you just don't go there and start scanning. Do you have to sign up for the app or something like that to get all this great information? We'll find out that and much more from the one and only Kimberly Dvorak, now streaming live at Facebook. All right, Chuck Wilder, CRN, with my guest Kimberly Dvorak, Senior Foreign Policy Advisor for the Committee for Responsible Foreign Policy. You know, we're talking about Facebook and these smuggling ads. They actually have a quote, right, from a Facebook spokesman, where we prohibit content that offers or assists with human smuggling and remove it from our platform whenever we find it. But apparently it takes them a little while to find it, and I'm sure money has nothing to do with it, right?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, this is how so many conservatives have been shadow banned on, you know, the internet, on Facebook, on Twitter, is the fact that they write these algorithms and they look for keywords. Well, you read a whole list of advertisements that were on Facebook and WhatsApp. And so you could glean those words and throw those in for algorithms to actually, you know, shut down these sites immediately. They had no problem doing that, again, with the President of the United States. But, you know, when it comes to the drug cartels, apparently that they're okay with it. I mean, one of the most outrageous things here, yeah, I mean, and I try just, you know, kind of just, you know, throw this against, you know, former President Trump here, because he was the leader of the free world, and this is how these companies are treating him. And they ought to be ashamed that they're not getting these posts down, and they're leading. I mean, the immigration and the migrants coming, it's increasing. It hasn't even leveled off. It continues to rise because of these apps. So perhaps they ought to get to working those algorithms, work with the government where they can, and shut down these, you know, these advertisements that are actually, you know, the root cause. They want to know the root cause. People do want to leave the country, but they also are looking that, you know, they're using the Biden administration as a tool in these advertisements, saying that you're going to get free health care, which of course they do. You're going to get, you know, free housing, which of course they do. You're going to get a bus ticket or plane to your city of your choice in the United States. I mean, this is what is going on, and the Biden administration refuses to say, look, as of now, if we see one person coming into this country, you are going to be deported, period. I don't care if it's asylum. I don't care what it is. Our borders are locked down. And you can call up your friends down in Mexico and say, hey, you know, we're going to need you to help us shore up our southern border and your northern border, so we can stop this, and help us message and put out advertisements in newspapers and publications and radio shows in Mexico saying, you come to the border, you're not getting in. So let's do some PSAs inside Mexico, perhaps, to kind of, you know, at least slow the increasing migrants that continue to pour across the southern border.
You know, and a moment ago, and you were mentioning algorithms, you know, and those are like keywords that are automatically, they're programmed when they see these keywords that, whoops, let's check this one out. Let me just give the listener 3 of them and see if you hear a key word. I offer safe crossing. We have crossings. What was the other one here? There were 3. 1, 2, let's see. Oh, I offer my foot crossing. Now, maybe, you know, crossing doesn't mean the sign of the cross, you know?
Yeah. Or you're crossing over the state of Maryland to the state of Pennsylvania. You know, different entirely thing.
True.
However,
and then, I was going to say, and then there's that one that's actually showing footage from the border. That might be kind of a hint.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot that Facebook can do here, and you know, if they, you know, the Congresswoman from Florida, she made a nice statement about this. She said, you know, if they, meaning Facebook and WhatsApp and social media, want to play in the public square and be the new public square, they have to assume the responsibility that goes along with it. And So if they allow this type of activity on their platform, they need to be held accountable. So it's absolutely true. They do need to be held accountable here. I mean, they have no problem, again, throwing the former president of the United States off of their platform. But, another, aspect of this to keep in mind is, these people are making this horrific journey. And the congresswoman here, Kalmek, she actually spoke to a 9-year-old girl who was gang raped by the human smugglers that her parents said, okay, this is the person that we're going to send you off to go to America and visit, Aunt Sandy or whatever it may be. This is the other thing to consider, that these social media platforms that are allowing this to continue on their sites and not going after it aggressively enough, that they're condoning gang raping children. I mean, they're condoning, the rape of women, young boys. They are condoning that because this stuff is documented and it's happening. And for Facebook to take money in the form of advertising from this, I mean, it should be something that the FCC has to take up, and maybe they just unplug Facebook, for a couple weeks until they get the message and get it right. I mean, they've never been held accountable on this. And in essence, they want to be that public square. They want to monitor and they want to choose what's going to be on their side or not. Then then they're condoning this behavior by the drug cartels and the coyotes and the human smugglers that are bringing children and women across this border, and they are raping them. So, I mean, and that scars people for life. Those kids are ruined for life over that.
Well, the 9-year-old that Kimberly mentioned, when the representative, Kat Kamak, spoke with her, she wasn't able to have a very good conversation with the little girl because she said her vocal cords had given out because she was screaming while being raped by all of the different cartel members.
Yeah.
Didn't mention how many, but it only takes one. 9 years old.
Yeah.
My goodness.
Yeah, I mean, it's despicable. And and where's Vice President Harris? She's not even visited the border yet. Why is she not talking to this 9-year-old girl and seeing the look in her eyes and the fear that she's always going to have now for the rest of her life? Where is Kamala Harris on this? I want to know why she's not at the border. You know what? This is her administration and President Biden, but I mean, mostly, I think she's thinking that she's mostly president. Biden, says it an awful lot, so maybe she thinks it, but she should be there. Otherwise, she's telling America that I condone that all of these illegals and all of these migrants are crossing into the United States, and the majority of the women and children that are making that journey are getting raped. And you know what? I support that. That's what she is supporting by not going down and doing anything. Frustrating.
Kimberly, here's the thing with her, is that throughout her career, when it first started or whatever, she's always made the statement that she's for open borders, and she won't go down there, even though she's, all for open borders. But is she afraid of the people or the cartel or whatever on those open borders? Is she just all talk and no action?
Well, I think
she's all for it. She's always been for it, but now she won't even say that.
Well, I mean, and this is a reason that you're not seeing the Biden administration, do anything along the border, and especially Kamala Harris, because there's a real possibility that Biden won't run again, and that, of course, then that would make room for Kamala to run as president. And they don't want to be on any. She's never wanted to be on any topic. I mean, it's why she had to drop out of the primary race, because she was like, oh yeah, I'm for free healthcare. Oh no, yeah, let's lose your doctors, and oh no, it's okay. No, I don't. She flip-flops and she just tells anybody whatever they want to hear. And on this front, she doesn't want to, potentially turn off, millions of Latino voters. But I mean, I have a message for Kamala Harris on this. The majority of Latino voters here in this country don't condone this. They do not condone what's happening at that border right now, and they do not condone the raping of women and children in the majority numbers of them that are crossing up here. They don't condone that their families have to give their daughters as young as 9 at least, and I'm presuming younger, the Plan B pill because they know they're going to be raped and they don't want them to get pregnant. I mean, what kind of country condones that? What kind of administration condones that? And if you're looking at this is a human rights struggle for sure. But why aren't we trying to help these countries fix their problems in their country so they don't flood to our country? And, over the weekend, the Biden administration's been dealt 2 big blows. There doesn't look like H.R. 1 is going to make it through the voting rights, which would have, that's gone. And then also Manchin said, I'm not voting on the filibuster. So, now they're going to be left scrambling, and the only key piece of legislation that they'll probably get through will be this infrastructure. But, if they wanted to ensure that, they keep the House, they need to start talking about this issue, and they need to go down and hear the stories from these people, look them in the eyes, and come up with measures that are going to prevent future kids from being raped by these brutal cartels. We talk about the cartels. They're like ISIS. They have no problems acting like ISIS. And, as a mother, as a human being, I don't know how anybody can be a part of this. But, this is a $1 billion industry. They're doing it. They acknowledge that the Biden administration's not going to do anything about it. They're going to get to come here. They'll, disperse in the country. And, they're promised that, at the end of the day, that someday they're going to, get green cards and they're going to be able to vote. So, that there is an ulterior motive, but, one would think that, the human rights, abuses that are taking place down there right now would trump pun the par, but would trump that, their reelection, and they think that this is going to be okay. I don't see how in any kind of world that our allies are going to look at America and go, yeah, you know what, I really like what they're doing on their southern border. That's the humane way to take care of it. Yeah.
The Democrats are very worried about the 2022 elections because we could take back, get more in the House and, just totally make them have to start working for their checks. But you see, that's why I really hit on this, we're banning Trump from Facebook for 2 years. He's already been banned from Twitter.
Yeah.
Now, Facebook, I guess they're not really giving you a good reason. He was banned from Twitter because he talked about voter fraud, and Twitter said you've been banned because there's no such thing as voter fraud, okay? And, you could find, 1,000 stories about voter fraud. So Twitter, do your... And then the other thing, is the big COVID-19, it started from China, the China virus. And see, that's one of the reasons I think Facebook is saying you can't get on anymore.
Yeah.
Well, we know what it is. They don't want you pumping those people to win in the next election.
Yeah.
To get those House and Senate jobs.
Yeah. Well, but the American people are actually smarter than that. The Democrats don't really give them any credit whatsoever. And, it's just, when you look at these issues, and again, I just look at the human rights abuses that are taking place, and you don't see, the cartel members being held accountable for any of this, and how they're moving, people who have been thrown out of this country. The numbers of sexual assault offenders are significantly increasing as they re-enter the country again. Are these the people that we want in our country? Are these the people that are here for that better life? Or are they here to, get some free stuff, send a lot of the whatever they get monetarily back to, their home countries, and then go on to commit, heinous crimes in this country? So, the American people are a lot smarter than I think the politicians give them credit for, because they're seeing what's happening in their community. They're seeing that if you're in New York City, like over the weekend, a 27-year-old girl in broad daylight was an attempted rape. Fortunately, at the end of the day, she was able to like force herself, but it was caught on camera. So you see this person just, thinking that's okay.
Now, where was this at?
That was in Midtown Manhattan in New York City.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah.
That's by the train station.
Yeah.
Wasn't it?
Yeah. So
yeah, unbelievable.
Middle of the day, not even night.
Yeah.
Middle of the day, you can't even walk around. And if you're a female, you cannot walk around on your own. And the video was staggering to watch it. You're just like, oh, what country do we live in where this happens? We read about this stuff in foreign countries. We don't read about those things here in this country. But when you have a number of people that just don't really care for the rule of law, and the number of people that are bringing their own values from their countries to this country, and then refusing to learn the language and fit into the way that America was founded, then you're going to have a lot of major issues in this country, which we are seeing unfold right now. We're just going to have to wait and see what damage it does at the end of the day, when it comes time that we actually have to get together as a country and make some hard decisions.
Well, Kimberly and I have been talking about these Facebook messages. Here's one for you, because you're talking about crossing in from one state to another. Listen to this one. I have 5 spots for Oxnard, California. The paperwork is not free as you cross through the borderline. Send me a message, and then blah, blah, blah for more information.
Yeah.
Only people truly interested.
Yeah.
And then you got one, travel safely to the United States, guided by God. We have the best people responsible and righteous. We cover all routes inside the United States. You know what? We're going to take a break. I mean,
that's real.
Yeah.
That's real, though.
Funny, and yep, the guy's probably making $100,000 a week.
At least.
All right. Kimberly Dvorak. Everybody's talking at me. CRN, Chuck Wilder with Kimberly Dvorak. It's very interesting, and you've really got to give a lot of credit to Representative Kat, K-A-T, Kamak, Republican Florida, for bringing this to everybody's attention. And she said that she acknowledges that it's not easy to completely get rid of such posts, given the ability of the smugglers to keep adding more.
Yeah.
So that shows you, you're not going to just say, hey, stop it, right? Something's got to happen. And like you say, the algorithms and things like that's got to be in there. And apparently, I don't think we're getting the truth out of the company that says, well, we're trying to block this.
Yeah.
Boy,
well, they're not doing a very good job of blocking it. And I kind of want to just leave the listener with this point. Kamek also spoke with the ambassador for Honduras, who was pleading for her to reach out to Facebook and do something about shutting down WhatsApp. Now, WhatsApp is used by 2 billion people around the globe. It's operating in 180 countries. So it's a big, you can message and you can talk on it as well. This is what the ambassador to Honduras told Kamek. She said, because the narco-terrorists are using WhatsApp as their primary means of communication to engage in activity that is murdering people, destroying communities, and really undermining the rule of law in Honduras. She goes on to say that, when you have a foreign government that's asking for our help in communicating and working with the social media platform, that's a sign that things have gone much too far. And it's really time for the discussion in the public square and the role of big tech in our everyday life and society. So you have Honduras saying, if you want to fix this, and of course, Vice President Kamala Harris is in Guatemala, she could pop right over to Honduras. And obviously they understand what the root cause is here. And maybe, she could go sit down and listen to the people that live in Honduras and what they're asking for. And they're asking for the U.S. government to take away the ability for these cartels to continue to carry out these heinous attacks of murder, or the cartels that are operating on the human smuggling migrant side, that's a specific request. That's something that could be done. I highly doubt that will be in the final word that the Biden administration comes up with here, because WhatsApp, of course, is owned by Facebook, and Facebook has White House access. So the White House is not going to do anything against Facebook. So that's where we lie. Again, I go back to that 9-year-old girl who was gang raped, and the Honduras ambassador pleading for the U.S. government to do something about WhatsApp because it's the primary communications tool that the cartels are using. That's something they can do. So that's what people need to think about. You look at the migrants coming up, and their story, you feel bad. Their stories are, the life is difficult in the countries they're trying to escape and whatnot. But maybe something like getting rid of WhatsApp here in some capacity, or neutering it, or whatever you want to do, may help some of the violence in these other countries, and these people would stay in their own countries. And you got to think about the brain drain that these countries are facing. They're losing all their people to America.
Well, I'll tell you, hopefully some people in those other countries are listening to you and I right now. It's amazing where this show pops up. It even surprises me, So, hey, all out of time, Kimberly. Excellent report. And be sure to go to thekdreport.com. That's Kimberly Dvorak, Dvorak. We'll do it again. Thank you.